Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and we're back for more Return to Castle New Orderstein of the Old Republic. That's the problem, there's so many Wolfenstein games, it's hard to remember which one is which at times. It's like, Return to Castle, New Order, Brutal, the Shoot-a-Nazi. But, yeah, Return to Brutal Shoot-a-Nazi, that's what we'll call it. Because likely, since this is a castle behind the lines, these guys are probably, true believers. Because there's a difference between your average soldier who's conscripted and a true believer. A true believer is an annoying asshole who's constantly sig-heiling all day long. And these guys could be that case, but then again, these could be basic, soldiers as well. But then again, you kind of have to be a true believer to convince someone to wear that ghastly yellow... To get someone to wear these clothes, they have to be some kind of crazy, because damn, son, that just... Seriously, a bright yellow uniform? Who wears that? It's like, so, last season. And of course, we just shot the guy who thankfully has the STG-44. Also, we can smack around these skeletons. That's damaging a corpse, I know. Actually reminds me, there's a... I guess it's fun... Well, since I think the guy was already... Ultimately, it's a funny case nonetheless, regardless of the details. Just when you don't... If you don't really know the details, it's funnier than if you do, I suppose. But there's somebody who stole a hearse for some reason. There's some criminal who stole a hearse with a dead body inside. Uh-oh. And they literally just threw the body in a ditch and took off with the hearse. But who steals a hearse? Who does that? The guy didn't really get, like, charged with too much, but he got with, like, Grand Theft Auto and, like, not dismembering a corpse. He didn't do anything to the corpse, but, like, disrespecting a corpse, something like that. It's like, seriously, though, but who does that? Who steals a hearse and then just throws the body out? I would have thought, the way that, and also that's a problem with media. The way that story was initially presented is like, they stole a car and it had a dead body inside. Not that it was a hearse that was, I guess, transporting a body to a funeral home or something, but it's like, seriously, who steals a hearse? Because I was thinking, like, well, wouldn't they, like, be, implicated in, like, a murder because they found a car with a dead body inside? Which would be a very bad thing. But no, it was already a known dead body, but hey, that's the media for you. They definitely say a wide variety of things that can be both annoying and inaccurate. Now, one of the cool things about this mod is, like, okay, you have all the food, but you also have these little water things, and apparently if you drink in a pit, you can get 100% health. Why? I don't know, but it's cool. And it certainly helps you stay alive. Also, smashy smashy! Some of these smashy smashies actually look a lot like smashy smashies from Rise of the Triad. There's a lot of sound effects. That's one thing I love about Doom WODs, is that if you've played a lot of these FPS games, then you can pretty much recognize where all the sound effects come from. And of course we have the MG42! I love the MG42. I'd love to have one in real life. And it wrecks, as you would expect. But it goes through ammo really fast. Let's see, so we got plenty of carbiner. It's not carabiner. We got plenty 7.92 Kurtz. I still can't believe that fucking modern day companies still make ammo for the 7.92 Kurtz. Because to get a legitimate STG-44, you'd have to spend a shitload of money. Also, this is part of the mod. This was not in the original game. The original game was literally just the corridors. This is like the original corridor shooter, ladies and gentlemen. And, nobody cared back then, because this was like one of the most advanced games of all time. Or maybe it wasn't, but when I look back, I thought it was pretty advanced back in the day. But then again, I was like 4. And Wolfenstein 3D was the very first game I ever played. I remember Wolfenstein being really difficult to spell as a kid. And ironically enough, it's still difficult to spell as an adult at times. But, you had to put that into DOS, C-semicolon / Wolfenstein. I think you could shorten it back then to Wolf. Because that's what I do today. I just type in, yeah, I think it was Wolf back then. You just type in Wolf, but still. I don't think you'd see a game with a title like that today, just because every title has to be zippy and something that can be easily typed into Google. But back then, people didn't care. Back then, titles used to be a lot longer. These days, they put a lot of colons into games, but back in the day, you'd have a complex title like Wolfenstein. But, yeah, you just wouldn't see that anymore. Ultimately, though, it was a game I absolutely loved back in the day, and you know what's funny? Even though it's a game that people would call violent, I mean, it's so obviously not real life. And also, you know, it also falls to, you know, parenting to tell your kids not to just shoot random people. Although, you know, in the modern era, you know, with the whole punch a Nazi meme, you know, maybe people will think this is good for kids to play since you're supposed to just be able to punch anybody you don't like. But we need not let that detain us at this time. There's a lot of really cool post-war bolt-action rifles that I'd love to have been able to get had I known they existed and actually had the money and all the rest. There's supposed to be a really cool Spanish bolt-action rifle chambered in 7.62 NATO. There's a lot of 7.62 NATO rifles that were cheap at one time that no longer are. But that's always the problem. Now, this entire part of the level is completely optional. We could have just skipped it. Because we certainly don't need anything from over here. Because we need one key. And that's in here. I remember this part being somewhat difficult back when I was a kid. I always died here. For a variety of reasons. Because there are a lot of troops here. Now, those fucking officers never showed up until later episodes. But goddamn are they annoying. They moved a lot faster. They're almost as annoying as the goddamn mutants. Now, what we have here is a key. That's pretty much what we do in the entire game. Is we collect keys, open doors, and all the rest. That's the whole idea of the game. And, you know, honestly, this game is a very fun gameplay game. I think this game, this particular WAD, I keep calling it a game WAD, is very important. Because Wolfenstein 3D, I tried playing it not too long ago, and I just felt it was a bit too slow. And what they do in this game is they like to, and also in the original Wolfenstein, is they like to have troops stationed like right outside the door, so they just fucking eradicate you as you go through a goddamn door. And I remember like in the first 5 minutes of trying to replay Wolfenstein 3D after a couple of years of not playing it, I died like in the first 5 minutes, and so I was like, okay, fuck this. This updates the gameplay just enough to make it fun. Or more fun than it would be normally, because this game has aged, or the original Wolfenstein 3D has aged. Ultimately, I am GeneralLotz, wishing you good, Carbeater 98K. I keep wishing you guys good those, but I can't think of anything good to wish you, or whatever makes you happy.